But after the war, there's an interesting kind of coda to this, where general anti-British feeling and some, it must be said, some anti-Semitism as well, contributes to a favourable climate for sheltering ex-Nazis or collaborators of the Nazis. And De Valera, again, here, this is an interesting, because he has 3 terms in office that are somewhat spread apart, including 2 after the war. And in the mid-50s, he is swaying back towards this quite virulent anti-British feeling and kind of almost a kind of weird nostalgia for the Nazis. So he facilitates kind of visas, all the rest of it. So I'll just run you through a few people before we move on who were sheltered. A man called Otto Skorzeny, who was SS Obersturmbannführer, which is a great word. He was Hitler's favourite commando and the most dangerous man in Europe. He pulled off a high-stakes glider rescue of Mussolini in 1943, is feted in Irish society upon his first visit in 1957. He purchases a 168-acre estate in County Kildare in 1959, and the press reports in Ireland present him as a dashing war hero in the kind of Scarlet Pimpernel mould, without any hint of repulsion. We're going to see later on similar looking back on Nazi connections in Egypt, kind of with a total lack of distaste or repulsion. So the nastiest of the bunch is undoubtedly Andrea Artukovic, who's the leader of the Croatian fascist party, the Ustasi, and he's known as the Butcher of the Balkans. He served as Nazi Minister of the Interior in the NDH, which is the independent state of Croatia, and much like democratic republics of here, there, and everywhere, the clue is if you have to put the word in the name, you probably aren't that thing. So, the very un-independent state of Croatia.
We swear we're democratic. We don't do democracy, but exactly. We call ourselves democratic.
Well, quite. So the independent state of Croatia, which is in no way independent, is very much a fascist puppet state of Nazi Germany. He's not a glamorous figure like Skorzeny. He's utterly brutal and a vicious anti-Semite, and launches the kind of Balkan episode of the Holocaust, which is truly brutal and awful to read about. And so it's hard to understand Irish willingness to shelter him without there being some kind of anti-Semitic element in society at large. You can understand Skorzeny; he's a dashing war hero. We could kind of forget about the uncomfortable stuff. But there's no redeeming features to Artukovic. He's a really unpleasant character. So he is secreted via the Catholic Church's quote-unquote rat lines to Rathgar in 1947 and later flees to the USA. Much like many, the Catholic Church has got its fingerprints all over this, unfortunately. In Italy, as we'll see later on, Pope Pius XII was... Hitler's Pope, was all too glad to facilitate the kind of rehabilitation of ex-Nazis, the sending them off to safe countries abroad, etc., etc. So 3 last ones quickly. Célestin Lannet as the leader of the Breton Waffen-SS unit, the Bezem-Perrot, who are notorious for rooting out and torturing resistance members in Brittany. So they're a bit like the Breton nationalists, I should say, are a bit like the Basques and the Catalonians. They very much see themselves as independent identity, will do anything they can to hurt their country at large. And again, my enemy's enemy is my friend.
And just a bit of context, Brittany is in France.
Yeah.
Well, just in case.
So Célestin Lannet is a pretty nasty character and no friend of the Resistance. And so he is again one who finds himself in Ireland after the war. Peter Menton, a Dutch businessman responsible for the murder of hundreds of Jews, also finds his way there, as well as Albert Loix, a Flemish collaborator who fled to Ireland in 1948 and remarkably became a fully fledged Irish citizen in 1954.